Tonight, there will be plenty of Christopher Walken impressions. We saw Communion, so you know what that means. We are live at the Wilbur Theatre talking about the 1989 Christopher Walken classic, Communion, which I think might be his best movie ever made. Based on a true story written by the man who had the encounter. Steven Spielberg said, I want to direct it. This man said, no. I want my friend to do it instead. And what is it about? Well, on December 26th, Whitley Strieber had a strange nightmare. In the following days, plagued by painful headaches, his behavior becomes increasingly erratic. Later, under hypnosis, he realizes that his dream was not a dream at all. It was motherfucking aliens. And he dances with them. And that's not even the weirdest part of the movie. Now, I do have to share one thing before I bring out our co-host. This movie holds a very special place for me because in my book, Joyful Recollections of Trauma, which is available wherever you get your books, your ebooks, your audiobooks, I talk about meeting Christopher Walken. And it was on the set of this movie. I've never seen it before just hours ago. And when I met him, he looked very weird. And when I saw him in the outfit that he was in, which is the magician outfit, my entire childhood came running back. I had not seen that image since I was alone with that man in an empty, dark warehouse. That is a true story. I was brought into an empty, dark warehouse to meet Christopher Walken, who was dressed like that fucking crazy magician. And this is the first time I'm seeing this movie. I don't know why, but man, oh man, it brought me back to my childhood. And I cannot wait to break down this movie with all of you, but more importantly, with my co-host. Please welcome your very own Jason Mantzoukas.
What's up, jerks? Yeah! Come on, let's go, Boston! Let's go! Here we go! That's right! Woo! What's up, balcony? That's right! Wow! You hear that? They're making you guys look like dog shit. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow.
Here we are, back in my hometown. What's up, Boston?
This is...
I'm from the North Shore. I'm from Nahant. I'm not from Boston.
Sure.
Oh yeah? A lot of Nahant residents tonight? Or a lot of North Shore? Give it up, North Shore. Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah!
Now, Jason, I want to check in with you really quickly. Have you ever seen this movie?
Never.
Okay.
Oh, no, 100% never. And I know that because I never realized that Christopher Walken had his own Vampire's Kiss for Nicolas Cage. This is that movie. This is a movie where somebody was like, hey, man, go nuts. Just full-blown Walken-ness.
I mean, this is...
He is diagnosed as full-blown Walken.
You hope it never happens, but sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you come out with a full-blown case of Walken.
I mean, this was nuts times nuts.
The best part about this movie is that I was about an hour ahead of my next co-host watching it. So I could watch her reaction to the black fedora, the outfit, and the meeting on the ship. And I cannot wait for her to tell you her thoughts. Please welcome June Diane Raphael. Welcome, June. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Paul?
I'm very well. You know, June and I left our home, 4 a.m. wake up, 5 a.m. We're in the car to come here tonight to do this show. And I can only describe that what you had to watch would be like the best way to encapsulate how your body must be feeling after having no sleep and then traveling all day and then doing a show.
Yeah. So many feelings. I felt like chaotic watching this. I felt like I
certainly didn't feel safe.
I didn't feel safe. And, you know, Jason and I were backstage during your...
Not to brag.
Yeah.
But we can get backstage.
We've got that kind of access.
And you guys do have badges. Can you just quickly show those just to make sure?
Jeez, I don't know if I have credentials.
Yeah,
we're
we
in
have
the
to get them out of
show.
here.
We're
Let's get them out of
actually
here.
in the
All right.
show.
Nope. Gotta get them out of here.
And we heard your description, your synopsis of the movie right before Jason came out. And we beg to differ.
That's not the movie. That's not the movie I saw.
Not
what you described.
We saw.
Not the movie I saw. I took notes about a very different movie.
I didn't see headaches. I didn't see...
I saw
also,
very little from the boy's point of view.
I didn't know he had that same dream. Never saw that.
The trailer also made it look like William Friedkin shot this movie. The whole trailer is basically Exorcist-style shots, which are not in the movie, I don't think.
Yeah, I know. Watching that trailer, I was like, well, first of all, I thought the first encounter was right before Halloween.
It was.
It was. Except until later, we find out it happened to him originally when he was a little kid in the kind of Stand By Me episode.
But why are we focusing on December 26th?
Who cares?
What happened on December 26th?
December 26th is when he was anally probed.
When he what?
He was anally probed on December 26th.
You don't think that happened in October when he saw the light, when the one-armed man from The Fugitive was there? I thought for sure that guy was to blame. I was like, why aren't they looking at the villain from The Fugitive? He's right there. He's behind the whole thing.
All I'll say is this. Every log line of this movie neglects to mention the Halloween encounter and only focuses on December 26th. And the other tagline is, a close encounter of the fourth kind, which...
Tell me what that means.
I think it's the anal probe. I think that the third kind is like, I'm meeting someone. The fourth kind is like, now they're jabbing me.
What's interesting is that the movie, what year, by the way?
1989.
Oh, wow. Okay. So way later than Close Encounters or E.T. or this is many, many years later. Starman. Okay.
See,
so that makes even less sense.
There's nothing... Okay, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start.
I'm in a dream. I'm
know.
in, like, I think the little doctors have me right now. I think the
will-
little doctors have me right now. The wide-eyed kind of pink guys who mostly just do like those things that are inflatable in front of car dealerships. That's all these guys are doing. But I think they're the bosses.
I feel
I
like
never understood. I never.
That's their whole thing.
those traditional looking oval faced aliens.
They're like the Greys.
Right. They look like they were kites that were hanging from the ceiling. They were floating, but they really had, like, it was, and I have a lot of respect for puppeteers, the worst puppeteers of all time.
I love this disclaimer. Now take these fuckers to task.
But these puppeteers were not doing a great job with that alien.
What?
I have no respect for puppeteers. And I'm thinking this looked just like inflatable stuff flapping around.
I just didn't understand what the difference between all of those creatures.
Well, we're going to get into that, I hope, because there are two that we know of, plus one of them is wearing a mask, and underneath the mask is another face.
That seems to be true, but then they seem to also suggest that also is not true. That is
Right.
Walken, I think, like a quarter of the way through the movie, appears to just be improvising every scene.
Well,
He's just doing wild stuff. When they get to the point where they're doing like dances and high fives and stuff, I'm like, I think this is just captured footage they put in the movie. I don't think
These
this
are
is real
outtakes.
at all.
there's one moment where he is reading a magazine, and I'm like, well, this is clearly behind the scenes footage that they put into the movie.
That's what
He
Absolutely.
did
Why does he
improvise.
get all dressed up to write? Why? Why does he get all dressed up in a hat and glasses to write his novel, which he mostly dictates to a video camera on a computer that's showing him his own image?
I'll never. Well, see, this is what's so
What's
hard.
the process at work here?
And this is what's so hard is like you want aliens, you want them to come down and capture an everyman.
Yes.
You know, capture somebody who's just like going about their life, going to their job, coming home, raising their kids, normal.
Yes, like
He's
Richard Dreyfuss in
Yes, exactly.
Close Encounters of the Third
He
Kind. Not Richard
starts-
Dreyfuss currently.
Wow.
A normal man.
Now,
He starts off psychotic. He gets probed, still psychotic. Becomes is in communion with the aliens at one point, still psychotic. Ends the movie psychotic. So there's no, I did not understand, especially when she's screaming at him, like, what's happened to you? You've lost your mind. I'm like, did you see that man's office setup?
Yeah.
He was already gone, girl. He was gone.
He is donezo. And then when he, in the middle of the movie, is like, you know what? I just realized this happened to me as a kid. If I'm Lindsay Krause, I'm like, get this kid and goodbye.
Listen,
Like, what are
I
we
would
doing?
be the night he took. By the way, he should not be a man who owns firearms. This is way before Alien Probe. I don't care about Alien Probe. I don't want this man to have access to firearms.
Now, I will say that you both are right. The director did let Christopher Walken do whatever he wanted.
Of course!
He said he gave him
Thank God.
complete creative freedom, allowing the actor to improvise his idiosyncratic quirks and lines of dialogue freely, to which the author of the book and the writer of the movie, the person that this is based on, said he did not like Christopher Walken's portrayal. He said, "You made me to be a little too crazy," to which Walken replied, "If the shoe fits."
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the closest that we'll ever get to a rom-com with Christopher Walken. I mean, because he is like, you want to fool around? Like, he's doing it.
Hated every second of that. I did not like it.
There's so many things happening. First of all, they establish this couple. He is married to his wife. And that opening shot.
When he lights the apartment on fire?
Oh. I'm talking about the shot even before that when they're just
everybody's
walking.
coming into the apartment that is very visibly on fire and is acting like, hey, we're here. How's it going? Oh, I mean, it's on fire again. The fire department shows up. Oh, what do we got? A fire here again? Okay.
But I did have questions about that fire department, though. The NYFD. Because they yell as they're leaving, false alarm. And I was like, well, there was a duck on fire.
Oh,
Something was on fire in here.
No, it was real.
I will say
Take this seriously.
Yes.
I will say that a 1026 or code 26 is a food fire in an apartment, but they said a code 23, which is an abandoned derelict vehicle is on fire. So,
by the way,
I don't think they're real firemen.
I would believe if the movie had pulled all the way out at the end to just Christopher Walken in a car that's on fire on the side of the road and everything's happening in his head, I would believe that. Why not? Why not? I don't know.
I don't have many clips, but the ones I do have are long.
The movie was endless. I will say,
5 hours.
This is one of those movies where whenever I stopped it, I was like, no. There can't. Somehow, every time I stop it, there's still 45 minutes left in the movie. That is impossible.
I could not. I wanted it longer, but I want to set the baseline for the performance for those who've not seen it. Can we play clip 1? This is just, and again, Walken as an everyman, like you said, June. This is before any contact. This is
the great American novelist, Christopher Walken.
Here we go.
Get up! I'm cooking. I'm on a roll. What's the matter with you? Boom!
Where's Dad? I don't know. Office, maybe.
Hats.
So many fedoras.
Oh, no, I had you. I got you. There you are.
What's the problem? The computer or you?
I had such a terrible day. First, the computer turns off. Then the wolf painting jumps off the wall. It attacks me without provocation. Then your mother calls. The toilet explodes. The duck I'm cooking tries to tell me how to live my life. The computer completely erased itself when it turned off. No wonder that I can't write my great American
Now, this is
novel.
also part of his Netflix as a joke stand-up special.
This is before any of the alien shit
Right.
happens.
Yeah.
And what's clear now in rewatching is this guy's done. This guy is fully cooked, and we just don't know it yet. Because everything he's up to there is straight nuts.
Yeah, and he's also, here's the other thing about him. He's also a dick. He's so rude. He's so fucking rude. And he's so selfish. Like, after he almost shoots his wife, he's like, I thought you were an alien.
Or how about his excuse when he doesn't want to go to a therapist? Pay her. I'm more interesting than her. Like, as if he's paying to go see a show?
Yeah. Like wild stuff.
so
And I mean, like,
rude.
look, this is Kyle MacLachlan's mom from Sex in the City. Okay? So you know you're in good hands.
I mean, he is...
Trey's mom? Is that
By
his
the
name?
way, I thought she was wonderful and I love watching her. I did question why she never seemed to be able to get anyone out of hypnosis.
Yes.
Like they were
They all
always
bring
just waking up.
They
She's
all
like,
bring
"You're up."
themselves out. And she's
And they all
have
say
to
it.
say to her, I think I'm not hypnotized anymore. And she's like, I think not.
Yeah, I think you're
What?
awake. Seems
I
like a
mean-
really important part of the process.
Yeah, to keep people under. It seems like they went under so quick. Like, here's my finger. I'm in a ship. I see it. Like, she didn't do anything yet. They
I
immediately...
love that in this interpretation of hypnosis, a lot of times when you see hypnosis portrayed in movies, it really is like they go into like a separate almost state or a kind of like, it becomes a little monotone or it becomes a little just reporting or whatever. They are just as conversational as, it's just their eyes are closed and they're like, I'm having the best time at home. And then we were just suddenly woken up by the brightest of lights.
But this first moment where they go up to the cabin and everyone is disturbed by the bright light, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's disturbed by the bright light. And it doesn't seem like anyone wants to talk about it or deal with it. And the other couple leaves as if Christopher Walken and his wife did something bad to them. Like they suggested a three-way. Like, we're out. We're leaving. We'll take a bus. We'll
But
go.
you
It's
know
like, take
what?
a bus? They look like they're in...
suggesting a three-way means they want to leave one of them out.
Oh.
That's
Which
offensive.
I understand.
That's offensive.
Leave out the one-armed man from The Fugitive. He's a villain.
Oh, no, he stays in.
Christopher Walken's gonna tape it on his camcorder.
Hey, we're
I'm just
interested in
gonna
fucking. We just want to fuck one of you.
Well, sometimes it was so exhausting watching this movie, knowing everyone studied with David Mamet, and they're all like
Lindsay
those
Krause,
scenes.
David
Lindsay
Mamet's
Krause,
ex-wife.
but you could tell because there's, especially in that scene, it was all like there was it wasn't the moon, it was a moon, there wasn't a moon, it was a moon. You're saying there wasn't a moon, but I was saying it wasn't a moon, but you're saying there was a moon.
There's a lot of just Meisner repetition going back and forth.
It was maddening.
It was maddening. That's what it was.
It really was.
My favorite...
Come on, Boston.
One of my favorite things about this movie, though, is Walken's reactions to the alien. Because when he first sees that little head peeking out behind a dresser, like, meh, like that little, like...
So that's what I couldn't figure out.
You know?
I understood when it's like, hey, little guys are coming, they're picking you up, they're taking you out. Little guys are doing experiments on you, I got it. The little guy behind the dresser, I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yep.
Now what's this guy up to? This guy seems like he's rogue. He's doing his own thing.
Why is he behind the dresser?
Yes.
Why is he hiding?
Why is he peeping and creeping? We can take Walken, we can get the little doctors, bring him up, and plug him straight into the fucking
But
prober.
this guy's like popping up behind a dresser as if he came in like through an air vent.
Like, what is that? Why was he just creeping like a little weirdo? And
Walken's reaction to aliens is like the way the Sopranos are like bada bing, like it is like a very like, hey, oh, don't you, come on, you don't get me.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Now, I will say that this was one of the most evocative and effective probing scenes I've ever seen in all my days. When that probe came out of that hole.
Holy shit. Do we have...
I thought we were maybe watching it.
I guess we're going to watch it.
We do.
June just threw to a clip.
Clip 3.
This is 14 years, never happened. June... Here we go, Boston. Here we go. Get ready, Boston. Boston, you asked for this.
Is there someone there?
He's making so much direct eye contact with us. Uh-oh.
Here it comes.
This guy knows
This
what's
is
up.
the moment where it starts to get really upsetting. They're taking off his pants.
He wants to smell. You know this is just Walken. Just Walken being like, let me smell you.
And here it comes.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Here we go.
No.
Don't look away, Boston. Don't look away, Boston. Yeah.
Let me go.
Mezzanine.
Awful. Terrible.
What's terrible?
What they did to me.
That's right, Boston.
I think what's so disturbing about that anal probe scene is his hands. Because when it goes in, clenches.
Oh, and that's
And you
when he
can-
says, I'm going to kill you, right?
Like, kill you. But then it also seems like he wants it because he kissed that alien in the
No.
face.
He goes, let me smell you.
Okay, I did not hear that part where he asked to smell that doctor. I thought
And
he
he
was
goes,
just making
I
out with
love
the
that
doctor.
you guys are calling them doctors.
That's what they're called in the movie.
I get it, but you're giving
That's
them
what the little boy calls
That's
them.
what they said, blue
They're
doctors.
not doctors.
They are doing a procedure.
By the way, if they were doing the procedure effectively, that trough that he's laying down in, the anal probe should be connected to that. It looks like it's coming out of the wall. It's like when I'm trying to have like an extension cord, I'm like, it's not going to reach. This
I
anal
agree.
probe, like we got to move it closer. Like let it come.
I
Let
agree.
it come out
That
of the
is
table.
unhygienic.
It is so hard though because, and this is all so Walken, but it's at some points it really does seem like he's enjoying it. It seems like he's at like a Russian spa, and like whatever
'cause he's-
happens.
Because
to
part
me-
of it is him being like, like he's like, oh, okay. I don't understand what it means when he has eyeliner on. True, and I'm being honest.
And that's
right
when I
now.
met him.
Like there's another. What is it?
That's when I met him.
With
That's-
eyeliner
yeah,
on.
that's what I mean. And there are moments where he's saying things that are like, you're the dream of me and I'm the dream of you or whatever. And I'm like, oh, have they replaced him? Is he really with them?
I mean,
is
there
there a guy without eyeliner and a guy with eyeliner and they are two different? I couldn't figure it out. Thank God.
I mean, the fact that he's playing multiple roles, but there is something really interesting.
The magician with the drawn-on mustache is absolutely the most nuts of all.
The year 1988, young Paul Scheer meets that version of that man. Hand-drawn mustache, slick back hair. I was told it was the bad guy from James Bond. He did not look like that when I met him in a dark room.
Wow.
What I love
And he
about...
gave you that watch.
He did. Apparently, he was able to. The probe pushed it way high up. That's why he was able to hold it for so many years. What I love about him getting probed and being visited.
Yes, what do you love, Paul? Because you were saying backstage, wait till you hear what I loved about him getting probed.
It's like you brought Christopher Walken to a fun house. He's like, oh, wow, what's this? Like, he's like, oh, may I touch you? Like, it's just like everything is
whoa.
like soup. That's soup? I'll eat. Oh, hot. It's like food, but water. Like, everything is a new environment. And I will tell you that sequence in the movie when he first sees what you call the doctors, and he
the
starts
medical staff.
laughing, was because he told the director, don't show me the aliens until
Wow.
we're rolling. And that was his natural response.
I don't blame him for
And
that.
the director left it in because he thought it was like organic.
No. Gosh. I'm curious what the aliens wanted from him.
I mean, he's one of the greatest writers of our time, obviously. You can hear it from just the snippets that he monologues,
Just
which is how one
information.
writes.
I thought he was like an actor trying to do an audition. When
I
he
did
had
I
that
thought
hat,
so too.
the Walkman on, he's like, yeah, that's a joke. I'm like, what are you doing? But I still don't understand in any world the camera on his face.
I don't understand the camera on his face. I don't understand the Walkman. I don't understand the hat and the glass. The glasses are the only part that makes sense for writing.
Yeah.
But everything else, I'm like,
Baffling.
what is this choice? What I love is that it is Christopher Walken given unlimited choices.
We saw all of them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took them
All
all.
possible choices.
Like, nobody interceded at all to be like, maybe we don't need all this stuff on your body. He was like, no, I want to wear all of this. There's a great quote, Darren Aronofsky in Making the Wrestler said that before every take, he would have them go through all of Mickey Rourke's pockets and take out all of the glasses. Because
God.
invariably he would pull out glasses during scenes and put them on, play with them, do stuff, sunglasses, stuff that would obscure his eyes. And he was like, I don't know where he hid them. He would always just somehow miss. We'd take 3 pair of glasses off of him, and suddenly he would just put glasses on in the middle of the scene.
What
This is Christopher Walken given unlimited glasses.
Like, I also like, it's so funny because I think that oftentimes you'll say like, oh, here's an actor, and he's like, I'm gonna play, a sanitation worker. What do they like? And it's a lot of choices. Here's an actor playing a writer, a screenwriter, and a novel writer. He's like, oh, they must be naked wearing cowboy boots. It's like as if it's a crazy thing. Like, I'm so far removed from this world. They must be insane. It's like,
I feel like it was like, no, it's going to be boring if I'm just sitting in front of a computer or a typewriter typing. Let's externalize it all. So when I'm writing about the wolves, maybe I'm dressed as a wolf. I've got a wolf mask. I've got cowboy boots.
Even the sets have too much on. There is a scene where there's so much art in this movie. Which...
you know what I want to talk about? I don't know if we have a screen, if I just go like this, if something's going to pop up, but the art in the therapist's office.
Oh, good.
The tapestry.
There was too much art in the therapist's office. Like,
there's art everywhere, though. You're right. Like, there's not a single frame that doesn't have a giant painting in the background.
The final act of the movie is both of them standing in front of 6 by 7 foot paintings.
Just monologues in front of murals is most of the last quarter of the movie.
But the one thing that I was stuck on, I don't know if either of you saw it, in the kitchen, when he's having a scene with his wife, the wife, thank you, good eyes, Mez. The wife is standing in front of a plate that's hanging on the wall that has a fillet of fish, 2 sausages, 2 hard-boiled eggs, and 2 string beans on it. In no world is that a meal that anyone is eating. But also, what the fuck is that?
And why? I was obsessed with that kitchen. I could look at it for 2 days. There's also a bathroom cabinet in the middle of the kitchen with a mirror on it. And I stared at that thing for a long time, and I was like, oh, it's just a mirror. There's just a mirror in the kitchen. No, it's a cabinet. That's a bathroom cabinet that has somehow been placed in this kitchen.
Yeah, it's a medicine cabinet. It's just a medicine cabinet. The best thing would be if they opened it up and it took out some Tylenol.
I am 90% sure that the therapist's office is the same apartment that Andre, my character in The League, had in one of the seasons. Because I knew the floor layout enough. It's different, but there's enough defining elements. I know that one apartment I had been in multiple shows, but this one was above an art gallery. And it made me go, I bet you somehow they said, can we take all your art? Because there was a ton of art in that one too. And I feel like that's part of the thing. It's like, you can rent this for your movie if you put my art in it. You want to put my art in it? But that, I believe, I have to do some more deep digging. And it would be even weirder if I met him in Andre's apartment as a child. But here's what I'll say about this movie. The art is weird. Everything's weird. Nothing he does is normal. The way that Christopher Walken sleeps with his wife is abnormal.
Crazy.
It's like his head is on her stomach and he's like wrapped in her and then
it's
also
like
out.
It's like a referee's going to slide in and be like, 1, 2, 3, you win. Every choice is the most nuts choice.
There's one shot that will haunt me for the rest of my days. It's during the sequence, but I didn't see it here. But it's sort of a shot behind Christopher Walken. It's not when his pants come down. I saw that. His legs are wide open.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
And you see pubes.
And
he's in stirrups.
Yes, he's in stirrups. And I don't ever want to see a man that way. Ever.
Right?
Ever. I was so rattled.
But truly, real talk, real question.
So rattled.
What is this movie about? Like, what
That's
is
a great
this
question.
Is this a movie about mental illness and how mental illness is passed on from generation to generation?
I have 2 strong theories. One, we know it's a true story, and I'll talk about what this guy's true story is. But what this movie posits is two things. A husband in a relationship where he starts to have an affair, and then he starts to destroy his home life. Because I think he's actually having a... Hold on.
With who? I love
the aliens. He's having so much fun with those aliens. He's dancing. He's in a jacuzzi with them. He wants to go back to them.
I do not think that's a jacuzzi. I'm so sorry. I have to disagree.
The first time.
That tub where he is probed is not a jacuzzi.
No. That when he's reading the magazine and his arms are up and he's like, he looks like he's in like a sauna.
Sorry.
And like at one point there's aliens dancing around. He's high-fiving them. Like, I think this is about a man.
And I will say, Paul, when he walks up to have that encounter, this is when he takes back the night and goes himself. And when he goes in there himself...
This was the original Take Back the Night?
This movie. This is it. But as he's walking up to the light, there's like really sexy synth music that's
Eric
playing.
Clapton.
Oh, it's all Eric Clapton. Every time he's like being sexually assaulted and it's like, just know that it's vaccine denier Eric Clapton, absolute piece of shit Eric Clapton, noodling all this guitar.
Huh.
Would you know my name if I saw you in Spaceship?
Okay, so that's one of your theories.
Okay. My other
I love
theory...
that you have multiple theories, by the way.
My other theory is we have spent our entire lives hearing stories about aliens abducting people, aliens taking advantage of people. And this is the first person who goes, I'm taking it back. Like tonight, he's like, I'm going to rewrite you're not taking advantage of me. I'm going to you. I'm going to go to you. And that's how the movie kind of ends. He's like, no more. Fuck you.
Okay, but
and I feel like there's I've never seen that before.
I agree. But then the movie is unreliable in that context because the scene where he leaves the thing and gets on the bus alone, and then he's looking around and everybody on the bus has bug heads, and he's like, okay, nice try. Okay, I see what you're doing. I'm like, oh, this is an allegory for mental illness, and that's what's going on. But no, the movie's not positing that at all. The movie, I think, genuinely is, at the end of the day, aliens did this to this guy. I think.
Would you like me to tell you what Whitley Strieber believes the movie is about?
Real name? Question mark?
Yes.
What? Okay. Get this guy out of here.
I mean, I guess not what the movie's about, but what his experience
Deputy
was.
Dog?
Can I take a guess?
Yes.
Can I take a guess? And again, it's not that different from what you've said, but it is the idea of being in communion with the aliens that, yes, we do think of it as very transactional experience, and the encounter group all has this trauma around their encounters with the aliens, and their multiple in utero babies have been taken by these aliens. That's a whole other, I guess, conversation. But I do think that there's a switch that he turns, which is I am meeting them on my own terms.
Right.
And that seems to be giving him some amount of peace. The end.
The movie... I agree with you. He seems at the end more at peace with something, but he seems to have also, ... lost his entire mind.
Well, because here's the thing.
And what I'm not
following
is this poor little boy who seems to be inheriting the whole thing.
But the movie does open up, if we go back, when he drops the bomb on his wife that he had been raped. He goes, I was raped. And she's like, whoa, what? He's like, yeah, I was raped. And so then at the end, it seems like he is going well, I'll go to you, and then you can still rape me, but I'm making the choice. And I think there is an element to that. I mean, because he's calling police. He's like, I need to investigate this rape on me. That's what he says. it's not even banned. It's not even sidestepped. He goes, "I was raped."
Yeah, he does say that, huh?
Well, a lot of alien abduction narratives are like molestation stories in a lot of ways, and I thought that this movie was getting at that in some way when they cut to him as a child experiencing the same alien situation, but they never go there, and it is very much just like, no, aliens are doing only this. There is no other scary thing. There is no other villain. The villain is the aliens, who are saying over and over to everybody, it's okay. We don't mean you any harm.
Right.
We just need to run a
Get
couple
some
of
information.
tests.
Right, and I get that.
Like, what?
Well, now here's what I'll tell you.
Okay, yeah, what does Whitley say?
Whitley is like, this is not a story about aliens. He's like, a lot of people have drawn that comparison, and it kind of makes me mad.
Oh,
wow.
Fuck you, Whitley.
Whitley wrote a book called Communion. It was #1 on a New York Times non-fiction bestseller list.
Wait.
Then it flopped to fiction because people were like, well, it seems like he might have made it up. I don't know, but here's...
Are you willing to say right now that you will never flop your book to fiction?
I will never... By the way, if you can get one each on the same book, it's pretty impressive.
Oh, that would be pretty great. Double New York Times bestseller.
For fiction and nonfiction, the same book? Yep. So Strieber concludes that the human species is being shepherded into a higher level of understanding and existence within an endless multiverse of matter, energy, space, and time. And he believes this is more about him being shown the multiverse. But then also says...
So is that... Wait, hang on. I'm interested in that. Only because does that mean Walken Prime, Eyeliner Walken, and Magician Walken are 3 versions of the same Christopher Walken? By the way, I love this movie.
Well, because what he says is, since I published this in 1987, science has determined that parallel universes may be physically real and that time travel may in some way be possible. I don't know if that's totally 100% right, but the book is a consolidation of UFO sightings and phenomenon, but he believes it's about the multiverse, and then adds this. When I was in that house upstate in the 80s, I was regularly drinking myself to sleep when I was there, and I would listen to the radio until late hours, drinking vodka, ...
Now we're
Listening
getting
to
to
Art
it.
Bell.
Yeah. Now we're getting a little bit closer.
Out of curiosity, just by applause, has anybody here had an experience with aliens? Okay,
Oh.
a couple of maniacs. Okay. The little robot guy I had real
Lego
problems
man?
with.
Okay, so
The little robot guy who runs around on little robot legs with the universal symbol for hypnosis on his chest couldn't make heads or tails out
here's
of him.
what's interesting. Well, first of all, when that robot guy ran in, I laughed so hard.
It's so jarring. It's like, we got one of these now?
It was so shocking. I thought for a second it was animated. Like, all of a sudden there was animation in the movie.
And that little guy gets put on the probe table, too.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, but then later on, it seems that he's being probed as though he's a part of our universe.
Agreed. That's what I mean. Like,
That's
it
the
almost feels like-
multiverse.
I guess
I
that is the
almost feel like
multiverse.
Walken somehow made that scene happen too. Like his spirit, his chaotic spirit influences even like the animation elements.
I mean, when he looks at that alien dead in the face and goes, "What do I call a book about you?"
When he,
What do I call a book about you? The alien will be like,
can we talk this over? It looks like you're gonna sing White Christmas. These are lines. What?
he's high-fiving aliens.
When he smells the alien, he goes, "Let me smell you." And then he goes, "Are you old?" What? I feel like he's doing Brando in Apocalypse Now. If he said you're an errand boy, come to collect a bill, I would be like, okay, this makes sense. This is a absolute nightmare.
But the fact that he gets dressed up, does a dance routine in the house, and then tells his wife, I'm getting cigarettes, to which she takes a solid 30 seconds to go, but he doesn't smoke.
Also, I'm going for a pack of cigarettes is the universal line for I'm leaving forever. If someone ever said to me, I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes, I'd be like, oh, no. They're not coming back?
If someone dresses like Matt Drudge from the Drudge Report, you would have to get out of that marriage.
Lindsay Krause just, like, between this and House of Cards, or House of Games, can't just catch a break. Always being conned by one of these nightmare guys.
Here's a thing, if you thought the movie was long. Was it interesting or weird that when he goes under hypnotherapy, we flash back to about 5 minutes of the movie with no extra, like, it wasn't like, oh, here's a different thing. We're going to tell you the story of the movie that you just saw 20 minutes ago.
The entire movie is discussing an event, well, I think 2 events, one that did happen in October, and then the other one in December, and everything is discussing and going over and turning over those 2 nights. That's it. That's
Lindsay
the whole movie.
Krause needs to be hypnotized at one point.
We need her perspective on that night. We need the kids' perspective on that night. We need the friends' perspective on that night.
It's like Rashomon for that night.
And meanwhile, no one answers the biggest question. Why on December 26th did they take the bike the kid got for Christmas, which they rode outside, and put it back under the Christmas tree?
Also,
why? It's already used. It's not, you don't keep it there.
It's fine.
Why, when everybody's in therapy, in hypnosis therapy rather, do the terrace doors keep opening? Like, what was that? Are the aliens coming in? Like, what was that?
By the way, the aliens came to visit her. The therapist? Yes. Remember, she saw the big white light, too, at one point.
Did she?
Yes.
I believe you, but I'm just like, I think I saw the big white light. I don't know. I don't know. Like, give me the big white light. I'm ready to go.
But when he first meets that therapist, he goes, I had an experience with aliens, and she's like, huh. And then she shows up at his apartment.
I loved him telling his regular doctor about what's going on. And him being like, uh-huh.
By the way, that's a great example of a
80s doctor.
80s, I mean, when he's telling that story to that doctor, but the therapist hears his story. She looks at him like he's insane. She says, you have a problem with your brain, this and that. And then he runs out and she's like, let him walk it off. Then she's at his house. And then it's revealed that she runs the group.
She tried to get him into the group earlier.
But I know, but that was after she said, check your brain out, do all this other stuff. Like, you run a group of people who've been abducted.
Oh, no, she has for sure seen this before. Like, his doctor, his GP is like, oh, you got to go to this. You got to go to talk to these guys. And she's like, I've got a whole group of people who have the exact same story, which would be interesting because they all genuinely have the same touch points as him.
But
they don't explore that at all.
He hates them. He's like, fucking
get
idiots.
Bent.
No.
And why?
No.
Why does he hate them so much?
Actually,
because they're victims, and he's not a victim.
He's starting to feel connection, and Lindsay Krause is like, I want to get out of here. She says, I just want to go home. And he's like, yeah, I'm not dealing with what you're dealing with. Spoiler alert, you are.
And he says the most constant, he goes, I have a family too. It's like, okay, what's going on here, bud?
Right, buddy.
Again, this is where improvising goes bad. It's too much improvising because he hates these people. He should have some...
It's almost selfish. Oh my gosh. He wants his own relationship with the little doctors. He doesn't want them to have their own relationship with the little doctors. The more they're solidifying the fact that they've had the same experience, the more he's like, actually, no. Mine is, I want the primacy of my own experience.
Here's something. What happened at school with his son and that airship apparatus that was outside on the playground?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
My guess would be that he also was taken aboard the ship in the first iteration, the October event. We see the boy almost getting pulled out the window or whatever.
Yes, on his bed.
We see him trying to be taken. My assumption is that he had a spaceship experience that is making him afraid to play on the spaceship. Playground.
Well, what a tip your hat to playground designers that they've nailed the interior of a real spaceship that well. Normally it's
triggering.
Like that's like saying like, wow, that playground has a really effective airplane. Like I've been on those playgrounds. It's like it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like the interior cockpit of an airplane. I'm sorry.
The movie is kind of like The Shining, but with aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
One single clap from the mezzanine. A Rudy-esque clap from the mezzanine. Thank you for your service.
Well, let me find out what the audience is thinking here. All right, did you have your hand up? All right, you stand up. I always say I will go to people in costume, and these two people are in costume. They're in Davy Crockett coonskin caps here. I love it. All
They're
right,
in
great
Davy
job.
Crockett coonskin caps for what reason?
Because the friends that were never identified in the entire movie
Alex.
wore them in the restaurant after they were catching up after the movie.
Great.
And you
great
guys
job.
were like, we need to be as hot as possible at the Wilbur. We need to make it hotter at the Wilbur.
Okay, so what is your question?
I was just going to say we're covered for winter now, Jason. So we'll maintain winter.
Oh,
in
well,
Boston.
good for you.
But my question is
Oh, that's wicked smart.
I know. My question is, when at the end of the movie, when he walks into the spaceship, he has the camcorder in hand. Ostensibly, he's the only person in New York City that has a camcorder. But he walks with the camcorder, never once records anything.
What's your name? Jordan, yes, give it up for Jordan. This is an incredible point. They established the video camera in the beginning of the movie. You would think at some point he would capture video of an alien encounter, and that would be part of the movie.
He brings it into the ship, and that alien's like, no, sweetheart.
Yeah, give me
We're
that.
turning this off.
We'll put this over here. And
Put
that's
your
just the
phone
director
down.
being like, have an alien take that away from Walken. Don't let Christopher walk on with the camera. He's already on set. Have one of the aliens take the camera away from him.
I would not have been surprised if he picked up like a little clapboard and said, "Take two."
He's constantly making direct eye contact with the camera.
I did not like it one bit.
Constantly. Because he's clearly thinking, we're not going to use this.
But
Spoiler alert, we used it all.
to that point, yes, he's reading a magazine, right? We see that, but he's next to just the head of a doctor.
Yes.
Which is a lot. There it is.
Every time there's a bunch of these. These are just behind the scenes shots. These are shots not meant for the movie that they were like, fucking throw it in.
Because, like, they're...
Why else would this happen? These are props. This is a list of props and Christopher Walken.
I do believe they're in the middle of it because there's no reason why that's a head and it's moving its mouth. So I bet you they were like, Chris, let me show you. We can control the mouth and eyes of this puppet here. And then Christopher goes, hold on, let me go meet Paul Scheer. I'll be right back.
He's like, hang on, I'm reading this issue of Premiere Magazine. Gaff Squad.
Okay, yes, your name?
Ray.
Ray, what's your question?
My question is if we think Eric Clapton watched the movie.
Yes.
Scary.
Yes, 100%.
Well, so Eric Clapton is friends with the writer, Whitley. They met in New Mexico.
I love how, like, everybody is. Eric Clapton is friends with the writer. Really? Very invested. Boston audience.
I don't want to put this person on the spot, but this person is a younger person than we normally get. All right.
How young? Is it a baby?
No. No baby.
Any babies in the crowd? Okay. Oh, there's a baby up there? Okay, go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
All right. What's her name?
Foster.
Foster. Okay, I'm going to hold
grabbing
the
for
mic,
that mic.
Foster. All right, here we go. Foster, what's your question?
Do you think this movie could be considered a Christmas too?
Christmas movie?
Foster. That's right. Give it up for Foster, everybody. This kid gets it. Absolutely, it's a Christmas movie. Watch it with your family every Christmas, Foster. Make your family watch it.
I do feel like at some point that's why they started describing this movie as taking place on December 26th.
Also, like, what is Santa Claus but an alien who creeps into your goddamn house, rummages around?
I am in the mezzanine.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
There is
Be
a baby
careful.
over there.
All right.
FYI, there's a baby over there. I
Okay.
would love it on Father's Day if someone would just give me a baby. Could you just give me a baby for Father's Day, please?
All right, what's her name?
My name's Avery.
Okay, Avery, and what's your question?
I was wondering, besides like the art piece, how they're actually living is fascinating because there's like one scene where they go down in an elevator, have a conversation, and just go back up, and it makes no sense.
Well, then the kid says, you left me. And like, yeah, we just had to, just for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they
I
have
did
to.
I had so many questions as the movie was going on for 5 hours. I had so many questions about how they were sustaining themselves in New York City and what she did for a living. Like, he does not seem to bring in any
He's a
money.
hit writer.
I
He's a hit novelist.
By the way, I forgot the titles, but he did write 2 very successful books that were turned into feature films. All right, so he wrote The Day After Tomorrow.
Wait,
Who are you
real
talking
person.
about?
The
real
real
person or
person.
Christopher Walken?
The real person wrote the Day After Tomorrow, Wolfen, and The Hunger, the
Well,
David Bowie
that's
movie.
fine.
Okay.
That's all well and good. But I'm talking about this movie we saw in which this guy does not seem to have written anything.
Well,
Oh, no.
no.
He's a fucking clown.
No, to me, he wrote those 3 things, and now he's having writer's block, and so he's trying to write the new thing, and then the aliens suck his brain out, and he can't write again.
Yeah, I agree, and I would love if any, as you continue on, if anybody can answer, like, what is the thing back here? Like, what did
it do? Which happened in October.
Yeah,
This
like, what is
happened
this
in October.
This part of it, what is it? Like, what are the, like, and how is it
No,
related to
it
his
doesn't
creativity?
happen in October
Paul,
because...
it happens in October.
No, because... Wait.
Well, it
This
happens
thing.
right after Halloween when he yells at the 13-year-old dressed as an alien.
But, yes, when the kid falls off the bike, that's Christmas. He goes, I'm sick. And he goes home.
That's when he goes to the doctor.
And he's like, look. And she's like, oh, it's a little red. And the doctor's like, yeah, it's a little red. Like he has a zit behind his ear. And he's like, it's so big. Look. But that is, I think, the second time. The first time they jumbled it.
Well,
The
also,
second time
the first time, too, the alien thing seems to touch the magic wand on his forehead, and he's like, get out of here. And he seems to make contact with it. At which point I was like, oh, whoa, this is physical. This isn't, like, in his head. This isn't, like...
Yeah. So you're saying they didn't actually get in there in October?
I think that the thing behind his head... Well, it's interesting because...
Either
every
way,
time-
what is it? What?
A microchip.
Microchip?
A tracking device, a microchip.
Boston, very into tracking and microchips. Okay.
What's her name?
A lot of preppers.
My name's Elizabeth.
Okay, Elizabeth has a question over here.
So I think one of you earlier mentioned that when this lady in the group, when she was 3 months pregnant, had her baby taken away from her, and later you see a little boy pointing at like a little girl on the ship saying she's looking for her mom. Was that her child? And why are they taking children?
Yes.
Good question.
Agreed.
Great question.
The latter half of the movie really exits from any narrative structure. It truly becomes kind of a tone poem of images and kind of just that.
Vibes.
And the scene you're describing
it's just
is that.
vibes at some point.
The one we just had up where Walken is reading a magazine and the characters' masks are off is part of this same section. The period where there are just babies and children hanging out, that's part of it. Like
he's hanging out half naked with babies and children, like, and they're all kind of like, and I'm not saying that in the weird thing, but he's just like, they're all at peace. They all like have let it go, but it doesn't seem like they're doing any experimentation on them. It's like they just want company on that ship.
I don't know what they're doing.
I never got to the bottom of what this whole thing, what they were doing, like the why.
What's it all about?
What's it all about? Boy, would that have been satisfying.
What's it all about?
What's it all about?
What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name's Cal, and I'm wondering if, based on his performance in the movie, does Christopher Walken believe in aliens?
Yes. So that actually happened.
He told me that personally. He did, not a joke.
I didn't know this was based on a movie. I did a book. I didn't know that this was also based on a true story. And I watched most of this movie thinking like, oh, this is just Christopher Walken telling us about the actor's experience with aliens. Like, that was the only thing I could hang on to.
At one point, he says, I'm seeing things from my whole life.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, well, that's him.
That's all him. And then at one point, I was like, oh, my gosh, he's an alien, Christopher Walken. And I was like, oh, he's always been an alien. How did I not see it before?
I thought that, too. In fact, it's the scene, like I said before, when he seems to confront himself with, he's talking to himself with eyeliner, and he's saying something to the effect of, I'm you and you're me, or blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, as a little boy, was he replaced with an alien clone, and the alien has been trying to accumulate the information of what it is to be human? And I genuinely was like, oh, we're about to find some threads here and connect some things, and no, we're not going to do that. This is just going to be cuckoo-caroo for the rest of the movie.
I would have liked it if he also played the magician's assistant. So he was both. But when I met
would have
him,
loved it if Lindsay Krause had played the magician's assistant.
She wasn't the magician's assistant.
That's what I was like, it must be someone or someone we know.
I didn't recognize her.
Because I couldn't make heads or tails out of whether the movie wanted me to understand these were dream states or actual events, or I don't know.
When I met him, the first question he said to me was, do you believe in aliens? And I said, yes. And he said, good. I'm in the balcony.
Be careful, Paul. By now, they've fully pissed that thing through. You're welcome, Mezzanine.
All right. Your name and your question. Oh, are you in costume? An homage. I was going to say, yeah, okay. I didn't want to insult you, but it is like, you look very good. All right. Your name and your question.
My name is Brendan, and my question is, couldn't he just sell that house in the California mountains?
Yeah, technically New York State mountains. But yeah, like, why keep on going back? Like, clearly something happened. It's a nice house.
In October.
Yeah, why not just sell it? Now, Beth, I believe it's the last slide. This is the last slide of the movie, or it's the one that says what happens. It basically says 19 more people. Yeah.
I don't think I saw this.
By October 1989, 19 other people had encountered similar unknown beings there.
Was this part of the movie?
I didn't see this slide.
I didn't see this in the movie.
Different cuts of this movie exist, so there are things...
Whoa, wait, what?
There are different cuts.
What are you talking about, Paul?
Like... I read a bunch of things that were cut out, but they were all in my version, but then this was not in my version.
Oh, okay. This was not in my version.
So
I didn't
Beth,
see any of this.
Show all three sides. Here we go. So it starts like this. At the end of the movie goes, based on the true experiences of
Did not see this, but can you keep this here? This alone is a movie I desperately want to see. This is a movie about Christopher Walken being like a very hip Hasidic Jew.
All right, then the next slide is... The Striebers continue to live in their cabin in upstate New York, followed by 19 other people had encountered similar unknown beings there. So they're like...
So the aliens are location-based? They're like, as long as you're in that house...
They always have been, Jason.
As long as you're in that house, we're intrigued by you.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to check that house out. Like, something actually is going on there.
Yeah, they're doing something weird in that. Like, there's definitely a gas leak in that house. And
sure.
people are like, I saw it, the lights, sounds.
I wrote it in my notes that I was like, I genuinely believe that someone in the movie is trying to fuck with him so that his next book is good. That's what I wanted the story to be. Go ahead, Paul.
I don't want to freak you out, June, and I'm just going to take you out of this equation. But if I was losing my mind...
Uh-oh.
And I accidentally almost killed my wife with a shotgun, I'd also make up the best alien story of all time. There's no way to walk yourself out of almost killing your spouse with a shotgun.
June, you know you're in trouble if you ever hear, I swear to God, the little doctors came for me. I had to get the gun.
Obviously, we have opinions about this movie, but there are people out there with a different opinion. It is now time for second opinions.
The lights arrived just the other day. They came to this world in an unusual way. They said, I am the dreamer and you're the dream. Their white Christmas cover is not what it seems. And since alien abduction is genetically passed, kid says, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the wolf's on the mantle and the duck's on fire. The Halloween mask and a possible spider. You've broken my mind, but you traveled so far. So I'm gonna give you 5 stars. Yeah, you know I'm gonna give you 5 stars.
Yeah, give it up, great job!
What's your name?
Pete.
Give it up for Pete. Get the fuck out of here.
The average Amazon review is 4.1 out of 5 stars.
How? Genuine question. How?
62% are 5-star reviews, and it starts off like this. From Samuel B. King, written in 2010. Great film. Christopher Walken is the only person who could have played this guy so genuinely. In my view, this is the weirdest, most convincing alien abduction film out there. Unsettling? Yes. Go see it because it asks more questions than it answers. Which is why we like these films. Correct? Catherine writes, also in 2010, title of the review, Gift from My Husband. He was very happy with it. He is really into alien history and reads a lot of novels by Zecharia Sitchin. I would recommend this movie to anyone that is into those kind of things. There's also a book adaptation. It's not a book adaptation. This is a movie adaptation of the book, you dummy. This one, written by Amazon customer in 2020, title is simply Freaky. This movie freaked me out so much, I took it out of the DVD player near the end and threw it away. No fault of Amazon or the seller. Perfect movie experience for me.
Wow. Did they think it was going to restart itself or...
I also just like that that's the perfect way to watch a movie. If I throw the media away, I love the album. I tossed it right out the window. Melee Grove in 2021 writes, very good indeed. My father and his friend and the mayor of my hometown once had their own close encounter on a lonely road. So I'm fairly open to these stories. Title, okay, not great, but... And finally, Rose Knight in 2018 writes this. I had a hard time watching it on my computer, trying to figure out which icon to click on, but once I figured it out, I enjoyed it a lot. The title, but once I figured it out, I enjoyed it.
Which icon?
All right, so the question goes to the two of you.
Oh, boy.
Would you recommend this film?
I want to take just a brief moment here at the end to once again reiterate how truly insane it is at the very end of the movie that they just cut to Lindsay Krause and Christopher Walken hardcore making out in front of paintings in a museum, delivering monologues to each other in front of paintings at the museum. And then it hard cuts to them and their son dressed up in weird clothes outside at night, like on top of a building or so. And I was like, what's up here? I truly feel like at the end of all of this, we have no further understanding of what this movie was about, what this movie's topics or themes were. I don't understand what happened. Absolutely 5 stars.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I could. I can't recommend watching this movie sober. Like, it's not. This would be a wonderful movie to watch stoned.
Here's the thing.
Truly, like,
June,
take a gummy and
June, I
put it on.
can tell you it is.
Okay, great.
Because I watched this movie in this hotel today, and it was dynamite.
Yeah.
I will say this. Art is subjective. You go to a museum, you look at a piece, what it might mean to you, it might feel different to me. And I think that's what this movie is saying. Alien abductions are subjective. What do we get from it? Maybe power. Maybe the inspiration to write the next great American novel. Maybe we get depressed by it, by its beauty, and we know it will never achieve. Maybe we use it to grieve. All these things can be true. Alien abductions need to be a personal experience, and for that, I give it 5 stars.
Oh.
It was really interesting.
I love it.
The movie is only interested in Christopher Walken, and the reality is this kid, Alex, is having a way, like, the movie should be about Alex and Lindsay Krause, right? The way that, like, The Shining is about Shelley Duvall and the little kid, you know? Like, that's what's crazy.
Yeah, he's a dad.
He's a villain. He's a villain in the movie.
Here's what I'll say. Every choice that Christopher Walken makes, there's no better movie that he has ever been in. If you want to edit the rest of the movie and just give it to him, when they give him an elephant nose for a Halloween party, he looks at it and then sniffs it.
Yeah.
And that choice alone
is
better than what most actors will ever do in their career.
Oh.
That's
everything about this movie.
Brave.
Every choice you're watching him make is electric to watch, but confounding in helping you understand the plot of the movie.
Absolutely confounding.
And the good news is this. Whitley has announced that he is working on a TV adaptation of it. So there's more communion for us. We're going to let you take out your cameras in 1 second. I'm going to say one thing to you all. Boston, thank you. We've been doing this show for 14 years. You guys always come out.
Thank you.
You come out on a Sunday. You bring the best energy. We thank you for being here tonight.
Happy Father's Day, Boston.
Happy Father's Day.
Oh, yeah.
That's our show. Thank you so much to the staff of the Wilbur Theatre, our amazing tour manager, Beth Thomas, and everyone in Boston who came out to that show. You all bought so many books that night, and what a great tie-in, my book and that movie. That was unintentional. We've been wanting to do communion for such a long time, but maybe now this is your moment. Go grab my book. It's available as an ebook, an audio book, and even as our actual book. You can do whatever you want. If you want me to personalize the book, you go to my website and you can get a book for list price and it will be personalized. Just go through Chevalier's. Thank you so much for everybody who has bought my book. I know I talked about it a bunch in the show, but it means the world to me. And it really makes a difference that you are sharing it online, you're writing reviews, and you're just letting people know about it because books are weird. And it's a little bit more work, but it's been so fulfilling. And because of you all, I became a New York Times bestseller, and I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank Christopher Walken because if I never met him, that's one of my favorite stories in the entire book. And maybe the book would be a little less good without this movie and Christopher Walken. And anyway, I don't want to just say Christopher Walken is the only reason why this movie is good. I want to say that the little doctors are really the reason why this movie is fantastic. And that's why we created a t-shirt for this episode that says, Little Doctors, Can I Smell You? If you want that as a coffee mug, a sticker, a t-shirt, a hoodie, whatever you want, go to tpublic.com/stores/HDTGM. And if you have a correction or omission from this episode, God, I know you're going to have a ton, leave me a voicemail at 619-PAUL-ASK or write a comment on our Discord at discord.gg/HDTGM. Then make sure you tune in next week to listen to our Last Looks follow-up to hear me respond to your messages, announce our next movie, and Jason and I will always be there chatting with our friends, talking about what we're into. If you've not listened to Last Looks in a while, give us a listen. We're doing deleted scenes. We got a lot of stuff going on there. You're missing out, honestly. Like last week, we had the writer of Jack Frost tell us what happened. Yeah, that's right. But if you didn't listen, you missed out. Anyway, we will be in Philadelphia. We're coming back to the Miller Theater on November 16th. Tickets are on sale now at hdtgm.com. And if you want to see Jason, myself, Lisa Gilroy, Carl Tart, Rob Hubel, Nicole Byer, all do improv under the moniker of Dinosaur. Well, come check us out in Boston and Washington, D.C. Brooklyn is already completely sold out. We also do shows monthly in L.A., but it's a great time. And maybe even a little cheaper ticket than How Did This Get Made? But it's like 10 amazing improvisers on stage for you in Boston and DC. Buy those tickets now, people. It's going to be a blast. I mean, financially, it's an irresponsible tour to tour with 10 people, but it's a great night out. Remember, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please make sure that you are subscribed to our feed and have automatic downloads turned on in the show settings. It helps us, and we appreciate it a lot. Now, last but not least, I got to thank our entire team to who this show could not be done without. I'm talking about our producers, Scott Sani and Molly Reynolds, our movie-picking producer, Avril Halley, our engineer, Casey Holford, and our associate producer, Jess Cisneros, and our EP, Cody Fisher, who stepped back into the ring to help out with this episode. Cody, we love you. You're the best. That's all we got. We'll see you next week on Last Looks. Bye for now.